Hi, my name's Joe and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing Solo Training by Loren Christensen, a book that was published in 2001. Now, Loren Christensen is a very prolific martial arts author. He's got an extensive background in karate, arnis, I think some traditional jiu-jitsu in there, and he's written so many books. I got so many of them. Solo Training is, just as the name says, a book on, what you can do when you're training by yourself. And with that intro, I'm gonna preface this by saying I sort of feel bad because this is a very thick book, almost 300 pages worth of drills, and I've done much longer reviews of much shorter books. The thing is, because most of its drills, I'm gonna have to just give you guys an overview and unfortunately be done with it. As for the chapters themselves, they'll tend to focus on the specific area that he's looking at when it comes to the drills. So you'll have footwork, kicking, upper body strikes, everything from punches to elbows. There's a chapter on mental training. There's a chapter on odds and ends, which can include things from like ice strikes to different sparring methods, broken rhythm, stuff like that. There are some shorter chapters on warming up, on striking combos, and on cross training with different sports. And the book itself finishes with 12 workouts that are 30 minutes a pop. I think one is technically a bit longer because he's counting the rest periods, but you put in 30 minutes of work. Now, the benefit of these different drills, they cover everything from conditioning to technique work. Some are just for general fitness. Some cover coordination. Some cover things like accuracy. Some cover realism. The mental training part covers things like visualization, including, I think there's one where you basically visualize, when you're out in a crowd, like, how can I fight that guy? How would I take down that dude? A neat aspect of this book, you'll get references to other martial artists. Among the more well-known are going to be Ken Shamrock and Ernie Reyes Sr. And, some of these other martial artists are quoted throughout the book. He'll get some of his drills and techniques from them as well. I know this has been brief, but we're going to hit into pros and cons right now. The pros of this book, there's so much variety. If you have a background, I'd say particularly in something like karate, kempo, taekwondo, sort of that area of martial arts, you're going to get a lot of benefits because a lot of the drills are going to be related to, do this front kick X amount of times, do the side kick X amount of times, do the round kick X amount of times. If you come from systems that are not, I hesitate to say standard, that might be a bit of an issue with, some of these drills may not be as useful to you as someone with a background in karate. Another really fun thing is he's got a very casual, conversive tone, so that you could just skip to the drills, but the tone of the book itself is never boring. At least not to me. Obviously, your mileage may vary, but I felt like I was having a conversation with someone who was telling me, like, oh yeah, I love this drill, it uses in this environment, got this one from this guy, and it's great for doing this stuff but not so great for that. So again, variety is an incredible pro. I can't emphasize that enough. There are so many different areas of martial arts that are covered in this book. When it comes to cons, it's sort of difficult to pick out. The best I can say is that, again, if you come from a martial art that doesn't have, that standardish variety of techniques as its core fundamentals. If you come from a background maybe in Wing Chun Kung Fu, and you get to the section on kicks and you're like, I don't throw round kicks. I'm just not going to do that. That's antithetical to my practice of Wing Chun. Some of those may not be as useful. If you come from a grappling background, especially a sport grappling background, there's not a whole lot of ready-made drills for you there. If you come from a weapons background, there were a lot of drills, so I may have skipped over it, but I don't recall any particular weapons-based drill. With that being said, I do think that there's a lot of stuff in this book, and if you have a background in one of those other arts that aren't specifically covered by this, you can probably take one of these drills and use it in your own way. So there was one drill, for example, that it was several 2-minute rounds separated by 1-minute breaks. And the first pair of 2-minute rounds, you threw front kicks left and right, tried to get to 100 in those 2 minutes. And then the second pair of 2-minute rounds, it was side kicks, try to get to 100 in those 2 minutes, and so on and so forth. So, for instance, if you don't have an art that practices kicking, let's say you come from a Kali background, so you could modify that drill as like, okay, for the first pair of 2 minutes, angle 1, angle 2, angle 1, angle 2. For the second pair of 2 minutes, maybe, what's it called, like Heaven 6? I'm going to try to get in as many reps as I can of that. And if you're, even if you're a grappler, you can do some solo training like uchikomis, or, grab a grappling dummy. And, okay, let's see how many arm bars from mount I can get in this, in the first two minutes. And then let me see how many, mounted triangles I can get in the second pair of 2-minute rounds. So even though not all the drills here will be applicable to every martial art, I think that there's enough material so that you could probably take what's there and modify it for your own purposes. So overall, very solid book. Again, it does specialize in solo training. There is some specific talk about techniques. Some techniques are given some detail, is what I'm saying. So that might be useful, if you're sort of a beginner or intermediate martial artist and you need to sort of refresh some of these, or maybe pick up some finer points. So who would I recommend this for? I think most martial artists in general could benefit from it. Again, I'd say specifically those with a background in, karate, kempo, taekwondo, tang soo do, like that family-ish of martial arts. But as I mentioned, anybody should be able to take some of these drills and modify them. So, again, I apologize for the video being so short today. There's just not a whole lot else to talk about unless I just pick the book up and start talking about each and every drill. And there are so many drills. So, really solid book. As always, thank you for your time. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment if you got anything to say. Thank you.